What's going on, family? This is Scrapbook Boxing, Museum of the Forgotten Fisticuffs series. We're going to take a look at Jack McVeigh, outstanding middleweight. He was born July 4th, 1905 in Athens, Georgia. Knockouts as follows. 1921, Mike Carrier, 6 rounds. Jack Tilleu, 6 rounds. Al Walters, 3 rounds. Kid Broad, 3 rounds. Soldier Van Sergen, 3 rounds. Bert Smithers, 7 rounds. In 1922, he would face Cowboy Lee Williams, 7 rounds. Bounding Wop, 2 rounds. Kid Lokis, 3 rounds. 1923, Rocky Smith, 5 rounds. 1926, Joe Wiener, 2 rounds. Solly Chronic, 9 rounds. Fascinating. Bobby Barrett, 7 rounds. 1927, Andy Gary, 6 rounds. Al Weber, a technical, in 4 rounds. He would face Walcott Langford, technical, 10 rounds. Johnny Saxon, 2 rounds. Walcott Langford was a phenomenal fighter. I have his profile. Outstanding African-American fighter. See, these are fighters that are not talked about, and it's my duty to do so. 1929, Billy Cobb, 10 rounds. Arthur Flynn, 8 rounds. Mickey Martell, 5 rounds. Amby McGill, 2 rounds. Jigger Doe, 3 rounds. And Frank Dover, 4 rounds. He would defeat fighters such as Sailor Derham, 1921, 10 rounds. Wildman Code, 10 rounds. Johnny Bush, 10 rounds. 1922, Allentown Joe Gans, another good fighter, 10 rounds. Bud Spartley, in 10 rounds. Mike Schwartz, 6 rounds. Young Joe Hicks, 10 rounds. Benny Ross, 12 rounds. Sandy Taylor, in 10 rounds. 1924, Sheik Leonard on a foul, 6 rounds. Marty Summers, 10 rounds. KO Phil Kaplan, outstanding fighter. He would win on a foul in 4 rounds. Fred Archer, 10 rounds. 1925, Georgia Levine, 12 rounds. 1926, Sailor Freeman, 10 rounds. 1927, Eddie Dempsey, 10 rounds. Eddie Dempsey would also fight Harry Smith. Eddie Dempsey fought him again on a foul, 5 rounds. And I just want you to take a look at some of these fighters. Willie Greb, 10 rounds. I know you don't know much of them. Just do some research. These are really good fighters. 1928, I have profiles on every last one of these fighters you see here. George Nichols, another good fighter. George Nichols actually fought as high as heavyweight, 10 rounds. Lou Scoza, 10 rounds. Phenomenal. Henry Firpo, 10 rounds. Now, he had some losses. 1925 against KO Phil Kaplan. Like I said, he was a very good fighter, 10 rounds. 1926, he would face Joe Dundee. Joe Dundee would be champion, middleweight champion. 10 rounds. Al Bain on a foul. He lost on a foul in 5 rounds to Al Bain. Young Jack Dempsey lost on a foul in 4 rounds to Young Jack Dempsey. These are technical losses. 1927, George Fafiel, a foul in 3 rounds. 1928, Maxie Rosenblum. Maxie Rosenblum would become a light heavyweight champion. He had lost to him in 8 rounds. He would lose to Phil K.O. Kaplan again in 10 rounds. George Courtney was another good fighter, 12 rounds. 1929, Maxie Rosenblum, 10 rounds. Vince Forion, 10 rounds. Gorilla Jones, he would lose to him in 10 rounds. No decisions with Billy Leonard, 1926. 10 rounds. Jack Hood, 10 rounds. Eddie Dempsey, 12 rounds. George Ward, 10 rounds. I mean, this is crazy. He had a draw in 1927 against Pete Latzo. Pete Latzo would be champion. Dave Sade, another phenomenal fighter. A draw with him, 12 rounds. I mean, this is just crazy right here. This is crazy. And I think he was never a middleweight champion. And he defeated a middleweight champion. I mean, this is crazy. Tiger West, Ernie, yeah, another good fighter. K.O. Wesley Ketchel. Ace Hutchkin, the Nebraskan Wildcat, no contest. August 26th. I wonder why it was a no contest. Let me just go ahead and enter him in my Museum of Forgotten Fisticuffs series. So I'm putting Jack McVeigh, outstanding African-American middleweight. I'm putting in my Museum of Forgotten Fisticuffs series. He was a phenomenal fighter. Never got an opportunity to fight for the middleweight championship. He has defeated a lot of fighters who challenged for the title or were champions. So I'm putting him in. This is Scrapbook Boxing, Museum of the Forgotten Fisticuffs series. As you can see here, he fought Harry Smith 15 rounds. He lost that fight. But he fought Harry Smith, and that's my point. Salute. Look out for my next group of fighters.